Hello and welcome to another one of our features where we offer you help and advice on looking after the health and welfare of your pets and animals. Today, as you can see, we've moved away from the surgery and we're down at the stables. That's because we're going to give you some advice on how to look after the health and well-being of your ponies and horses. Specifically this time around, we're going to take a look at worms. Now, by worms, I don't mean the type that you'll sometimes see birds swooping down from the sky to pluck from the ground, or when you were a child, the ones that you were looking for when you were digging a matchstick into the ground. Don't say you didn't do it, because you did. We're going to take a look at parasitic worms, and they're worms that can live within the intestinal system of a horse. So here we are, we're down at the paddock, and we thought we'd enlist the help of one of our most handsome entertainers today. This is Dandy, and he's going to help our vet Rob to explain some of the problems that you can find with your horse or pony. Specifically this time, we're looking at the issues of worms. Ponies, horses, they can be a problem, and the first thing to set out is the fact that there's more than one worm.
Oh, there's lots of different worms. Well, we've got large worms, small worms, hair worms, and we even have a small larva called a bot, which is just the intermediate stage for an insect that we see around the place. If we see any worms, then we'll see a bit of weight loss, and we can see a loss of athletic performance. In really bad cases, we can see complete abdominal catastrophe.
How important is it to make sure that if your horse or pony has worms, that you can get it treated straight away? What are the first signs to look for?
Well, what we would see with these guys if they're wormy is that they would drop weight as a classic sign. But there is a lot of strategies that we've got that we can use to get rid of this. I mean, when I first qualified back in the dark ages, a worm program was just immense. We'd use a different wormer every 6 weeks. We'd use a double dose of tapewormer twice a year. We'd use a different wormer after the first frost. If you got a new horse on the yard, you'd needed a 5-day wormer to treat that. It was amazing anybody wormed. It was amazingly complex. And we realized that with time, we were just going to run out of wormers. We were selecting for resistant worms. So they did a study at the University of Liverpool, and what they did is they sampled poo from these guys, they did blood samples from these guys, and they wormed the ones that showed signs of worms. They looked for worm eggs, they looked for markers in the blood. What they then did is followed all of those horses over the year, and they found that by just worming the ones that had positive signs, that they reduced the amount of worms that were seen, and they used less wormers overall, which was much better. But it does require good coordination, and it does require good cooperation.
So there you have it. If you suspect that your horse or pony, no matter how old, how big, how small, may have a worm problem, the very best thing you can do is get in touch with your vet as soon as possible and get the very best advice.